And welcome to our ACCE Learning Network Hangout, Series 4, Episode 19 for 2014. Hi, Amanda.
Hey, Roland.
It's a place we can connect the network of our PLN.
And as usual, if you're watching us live, you can post a question to our panel by going to todaysmeet.com/ACCELN. And on Twitter, you can use the hashtag ACCELN. And you can also add a comment to our Google Plus events page, because we seem to like multitasking.
I'm Roland Guesthausen, high school teacher, e-learning leader in Victoria, Australia. I'm also on the DL team Victoria State Council. And I'm really excited because Doctor Who's kicked off again and life has returned to normality as we reboot the universe. And just like companies change a lot of things, I'm going to put my Google socks on because tonight we're going to be doing a bit of Googling. And Chris, you still got your Google socks?
I think I lost one, so no.
Oh, I keep mine when on special occasions, when I need to have inspiration. And I turn to my lovely co-host, Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda Ravlin. I'm an e-learning coordinator in Brisbane and a QSite member. And we have a range of wonderful guests with us this evening. Oh, wait, I was meant to do my weekly blurb. I had some fun with Makey Makey this week, and that worked really well until my daughter started eating the banana piano. But apparently it was tasty, and we replaced it with plasticine. So there you go. Anyway, our wonderful guests this evening will introduce themselves now from left to right on my computer, which is alphabetical order by first name. Our very special guest this evening is the lovely Chris Fetcher.
Lovely. I'm not often described as lovely, but thank you very much.
Okay, I'll replace that with entertaining, or should I say classy?
I don't know. Any or all of the above. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you with us.
That's all you get. Move on.
Oh, fair enough. Oh. We know you. The internet knows you by now.
And I know the internet.
And moving on to Paula.
Hi, I'm Paula Thomas, and I'm an ICT teacher and a primary teacher from Bris Vegas.
That's the place to be, isn't it?
Bris Vegas?
Absolutely. Bris Vegas. Yep. We're all famous here.
It brings up images of cheap drive-thrus to get married. Ooh.
We should look into that. And the very lovely Wes Warner.
Why, thank you. It's interesting with Bris Vegas because I also worked in another Vegas called Rock Vegas, and we claim to have taken that name first.
I think the only thing that Melbourne has is Smellborn, but I've never had... Oh, gosh, that sounds so good.
But, yes, well, my name's Wes, and my claim to fame this week was to recreate my college in Minecraft in 1-to-1 scale. And we also had Grandparents' Day during this week, and unfortunately in the real world it rained, but in the virtual world in Minecraft it did not.
So you'll have to work on those special effects so that it is the same.
No, we much prefer to have our grandparents just walk around virtually, unimpeded by the weather.
Fair enough.
I'm sure they prefer it too.
Absolutely. It's less tiring on the heels.
It's fun when you do that. Did you do it in safe mode, mate, or did you risk it with those zombies?
No, we made sure that we weren't in survival mode.
Although grandparents with zombies could be fun. Well, it is lucky we have such a classy bunch with us this evening because we're going to be talking Google Classroom.
That's why I should have worn a tie tonight, Amanda. Shall we undo the bubble wrap and take a peek inside? And Chris, as our tour guide, could you perhaps kick this off by telling us what is Google Classroom all about? This script intentionally blank because it's Chris Betcher. Close parentheses. Go, Chris.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yes, I thought we'd have a little bit of a tour around Google Classroom tonight. I don't know it. I mean, I know it a little bit, but I haven't used it entirely in anger just yet because it's a fairly new tool. In fact, it was only released for the general population last week, I think it was. might have been the week before. So I've had it for a while myself, but I haven't had the ability to bring other teachers into the domain yet. So it's just been me, and it's not a lot of fun to play just by yourself. So I thought what we do tonight is I've created some guest accounts. So I have a training domain. If you're a Google educator or a Google trainer, sorry, you actually get a training domain. So basically, I have my own school, so to speak. And so I've created accounts for everybody, and so there is a Google Doc floating around. What's the best way to give people a link to this? I can see Amanda, Roland, Wes, Michael, Dominic, Paula, and Kylie have all gotten to the document and claimed a username.
Would you like me to post that link in our today's meet?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. Thank you.
No
So
worries.
if you go in there and just claim a domain name, so the training domain that I've got is training.cruxlearning.com. So if you want to play tonight, just grab an account. So it'll be student 01, student 02, student 03, and so on. Right now we're up. The next person to claim one will be student 8. So student 08 at training.cruxlearning.com. And the password is also Crux Learning. So what you do once you claim one of those usernames is head over to a new Virgin window. So if you try and do this in, well, I don't know, you can probably do it in any window you like, but I'm thinking to play safely if you just open an incognito window, because you're all using Chrome, aren't you? Yes, of course you are.
Absolutely.
I had students doing Scratch today.
I may have multiple browsers open just to...
You have to. You're right,
I had
Chris.
kids
In a way, you
using
want to
Scratch
quarantine
today.
kind of what you're listening to perhaps how you want to work. I never thought of using incognito windows to be able to sort of jump in. I hate when my dad comes in. Can you check my email? Oh gosh, got to close everything down and log out. Makes so much sense. Just open up incognito window.
Totally. That's why it exists. It's not really just all about porn mode. That's the main reason why it exists. Is so you can do anonymous logins.
Thank you.
And I can see Dean just joined us at student 08, so welcome, Dean. Yeah, so no, incognito mode is hugely useful for doing this sort of thing and just testing sites from a non-logged in perspective. So what I recommend you do is fire up Chrome, open an incognito window with Control-Shift-T or just from the menu. Sorry, Control-Shift-N, I beg your pardon, for new window. And what you should end up with is, let me share my screen, a window where you can then log in. And so you need to go then, once you've got an incognito up, you go to classroom.google.com. Okay, nice and easy. Classroom.google.com, and you'll be faced, because you haven't logged in anywhere yet, you'll be faced with a login screen. So use that login you just got there. So student 0, whatever your number is, at training.cruxlearning.com. Password is Crux Learning, C-R-U-X Learning. And once you've done that, you should come to, now I share my screen, too many buttons, this one. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen there right now. So you will come to a screen. Yours will look a little bit different to this. You will click in the top right-hand corner of the screen, and you'll see a little plus sign in the top corner. It says "Join this class," and this is what students would do. Oh, sorry, I've jumped a step there. When you first go to that login screen, you'll actually be faced with a choice of saying you're either a student or a teacher. And just explain the way this works. Obviously, you guys are playing the role of students tonight, so you'll click the button that says student. And I can hear you thinking, what if a nefarious kid decides he wants to be the teacher and he clicks the teacher button? Does he then get the ability to create lots of classrooms? The answer to that is sort of yes and no. It depends how it's been set up in the dashboard. So by default, if someone says they're a teacher, regardless of whether they are or aren't, they can actually start creating classroom spaces immediately. Now, I wasn't that keen on that idea. I actually wanted to verify each user as they came in and decide whether they needed that privilege or not. So you can go into the dashboard settings and actually change it so that people who claim they're a teacher have to be actually verified first before they can actually create any accounts. All right, so that's how that works. So yeah, whether you click right now on student or teacher doesn't matter. I won't be verifying you, so you'll all be treated as students anyway. I can see student 03 has now entered the room, and you can see it's just showing up there on my student list. And so I'll just give the rest of you a moment to to do that. If anyone's having any trouble, sing out. I'll try and help. How are you going, Roland?
I got Art 01 and the demo class. Just looking for the. What was the class code? Is there?
So the class code.
In the documentation you had there. Yep. So let's go back to it.
It is. The class code is M. What did I say there? M8ENVB. So M number 8 ENVB. And so
I'm so glad they've done
that
because it's so much easier to grab a bunch of kids in one swoop. You can pull them all in, and there we go.
Yep. Now you can actually import students into this, but they do need to accept. So you can't just put students in here. You can invite them in, then they got to click a button to say yes or no. Okay, so I can see student 1, student 2, and student 3 are all in the room. Paula, how are you going?
I seem to be. I'm in Crux Learning. I can see student 06 up the top, right-hand corner. So
okay.
I'm not sure where I go from
plus
there.
sign saying join this class? Should be a little plus button up in the top corner that says join this class.
It's student 06.
Where your email is.
Join Google Plus.
No. Did you go to classroom.google.com?
Yep. Yep. So I'm in Crux Learning. Down the left is My Drive Classroom Crux Learning demo. Is that where I should be?
Student 4 just came in, so let me see, who's that? Student 4 was, that'd be Michael. Hi, Michael. So I'll just run through that one more time for people
Class
just catching up.
Yep.
Class code, M8ENVB. Now, of course, if you're doing this in the real world of a classroom, you would have emailed all of this information out to the students. It's a bit hard because we're bringing in anonymous people from the back channel, basically. And so, you know, we're having to sort of do this verbally. But in the real world of a school, this would be handed to the kids probably in an email or something. And they would probably already have accounts anyway. It's worth pointing out that this only operates inside a Google Apps for Education domain. So, you know, if you're not a Google Apps for Education school, this is not an option for you just yet. And the other catch on it is you do have to all be in the same domain. So I know there are a few schools that have their students in one domain and the teachers in another who won't work for you. You do have to be all in one domain. So there's a couple of gotchas around this yet. The other thing, if I just go back to here and I can see, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. They're all in the room, and hopefully the rest of you guys will catch up as we go along. A couple of caveats about Google Classroom. It's a brand new tool. Like I said, it was only publicly released a week or two ago. It's been in beta and in testing prior to that. It probably isn't really ready yet, but the original timeline on this was to have it come out in about November. And of course, all the American teachers went, hang on a second, school goes back in September for us, so you know November's not that useful. So I know the Google team did sort of rush to get this out, and so that's why it was sort of such a rush job to sort of get to this point. And I suspect there are features that are still coming. In fact, I'm pretty sure there are. So just with that sort of caveat in mind, let's have a little play. So I'm going to go to the front page here. I'm just, you guys, I imagine will have this running in one window and hopefully be looking at the Hangout in the other window. Student 3, thank you very much. Student 8 gives me a smiley. You can see I've started a conversation there, and starting a conversation with the class, starting a discussion thread is as simple as going up here to, you know, hello. Oops, type correctly. Hello all. How are you? You know, pretty inane comment for a classroom discussion, but you get the idea. So I can post that.
It's a bit like Edmodo-y, Facebook-y.
It's a little bit Edmodo-y, yep. So you're starting a discussion thread. I can see student 2, which is Roland, has already started a conversation. So teacher isn't the only one who can start conversations here. Unlike Moodle, often it's set up in such a way that it's only the teacher that's starting conversations and students can contribute. In here, any student can start a conversation, contribute to a conversation. So that's pretty useful, and you know that's that's the discussion aspect of it. So I can see people are adding conversations there. My thought when I saw that is what happens when these conversation threads grow. Turns out that as soon as you get more than 3 comments, it just shows the most recent 3 and gives you the option to unfold to show more. So just like that. So you're only ever seeing the most recent 3, which is, I think, a nice way to handle it. Where it gets more interesting is in the handling of assignments. So again, I haven't played with this as nearly as much as I'd like to, but you guys are going to be the guinea pigs tonight. We'll have a bit of a play with this. Ask questions as we go along, because I'm doing a lot of talking and I don't really want to do that, but let's see how we go. So I'd like to give you a little assignment. So you can see at the top here, I've got the option to create an announcement or an assignment. Oh, student 1 wants to know if we can have a blue theme for our page. How did I know you'd ask that, Amanda? I can actually do that. There's a button in the corner here that I see as a teacher that says Change Class Theme. And if I click on that, it gives me the option, when the bandwidth gods smile. Come on. Boom. Okay, so you can see I do have a bunch of options to choose from there. None of them are particularly blue.
There's
Maybe
a blue keyboard
one.
or something.
Yeah, we'll go with this one. Hope you like spiders as well. Okay. So I've just changed your theme. Now, does that? Now, here's a question for you guys. Does that show instantly for you, or do you have to wait for a page refresh?
Ooh, no, it did.
Required.
Yep,
Just there.
it's instant.
Instantly. Okay. Excellent. So you didn't even have to refresh the page. So that's kind of magical. That's good.
And same with comments as well.
So yes, there's a bunch of themes you can pick, and as you may have seen from the list of themes here, there's kind of sporty and arty and sciencey. There's a couple of books there for English, and there's some sort of mathematical related things, some biology things. So they've kind of given you a bunch of themes which I guess might be useful in a sort of a K-12 kind of setting. Let's take a look at the assignments though, because this is where I think it gets interesting. One of the things that Moodle does is handles that back and forth of assignment flow, of workflow between student and teacher, and it's not always intuitive to use. I think this is a lot simpler to use, even though it's obviously not as full-featured. So I'm going to click on Share with my class. Please complete this task. Okay, and I'm going to just add a document to this. First of all, I'll say it's an assignment. Oh, try that again. Please complete this task. Okay, so you notice I click the button that said assignment, not announcement, so it opens up a couple of things. So description of assignment, writing task, and I can give it a due date. So I might give this a due date of August 26th, so that's tomorrow. Okay, so we'll do that. I can even add a time in there if I like. So if you're one of those teachers that says must be handed in by 4 o'clock or midnight or whatever your rule is, you can do that. Maybe what I'd like you to do for this is, now there's a couple of things I can do. I can attach a file. I can attach a Google Drive item. I can attach a YouTube video, or I can send you to a link. So I might say, go and look at this website and write a response to it, or watch this video and answer some questions, so there's a bunch of options you could take there. The other thing is, because I'm acting as a teacher in this instance, and I do have other classrooms set up. You see, I have the option there of this drop down. If I have other classes, I can actually select. So I might give a task to multiple classes.
Yep.
Nice.
So that's kind of handy. One thing you can't do right now that I know there's a lot of feedback requests into the classroom team is to assign multiple teachers to a classroom. A lot of people are asking about that, so I think that's on the cards.
Good.
That's obviously a big one. But just for the sake of this one, let's do this. I've got a little Google Drive document that I've prepared earlier just to get my students to write a short response to a task. So I'm going to click on the Drive link here, go into my documents here, and I've got a folder here called Classroom Demo. And here it is, ACCELN Task 1, and I'll say Add. So I've just added that document to this assignment. And I have the option over here to say the students can view the file. So maybe I just want you to read something and respond, and respond elsewhere. Edit the file. And if I choose that second option, then I'm actually creating basically a shared collaborative document that you can all edit together. Or I can make a copy for each student. So let's just say I want to do the sort of the more traditional thing here and make a copy for each student. So I'll choose that option, and click Assign.
That's so much
And what
easier
it
than
does,
adding to a template gallery, you know.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So it uses the original one, creates that assignment, and now you can see what it says here is that I've got 8 students in my classroom at the moment, and 0 of them have done the task. 8 of them, so 8 of them have not done the task. 0 have done the task. So if you guys now look in your stream, you should see the assignment task, and I might ask one of you now to share your screen and show us what it looks like from the student point of view. So would anyone like to volunteer to do that?
I could have a go if you like.
Wes? Or
Wes?
Roland? Yeah, Roland. Okay.
I've already done it, but that's
Okay.
okay.
Oh, you've done it?
just-
Okay.
I
Go,
just had
Amanda.
my mic muted. Okay. So now I'm getting a message
Okay.
that I have to attach a file, or I can. Okay. I guess it's just guiding me through some instructions because
No,
I've never submitted.
So what you do is just close that window you've got there. Sorry. Oh, this is just taking on the guided tour. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see the task there, ACCLN Task 1, Student 01. You notice it's named it for you, so your name in this instance is Student 01, and it's actually appended your name on the end of the task. So when I look at that, it's actually telling me who owns this. So click on that, it'll open the document. The rest of you can do this as well, if you can juggle a couple of windows. And so here's your first task here. It says, briefly describe your first impressions of classroom. What potential do you see for this in your school? So, you know, just a simple question for the sake of the demo.
So I notice I don't have just the traditional button. This one here, turn
No,
in.
so what Amanda's seeing at the top of the screen there is a button that says turn in. So when you see the turn in button, you know that this document is actually part of the workflow inside Classroom. And so when she's finished typing her response there, she clicks the turn in button.
And I like it seems to be automatically shared with the teacher.
It is automatically shared with the teacher, yep.
Useful.
And so Amanda has then hit the turn in button, and now she's getting a warning here that says when you turn in this file you will lose the ability to edit the files. So as soon as you submit it, you can't make any more changes to the document. It turns the student's access to the document from write to read. And she's left me a nice little note saying this was a dodgy assignment. Thank you for your feedback.
Oh, come on.
It is noted.
Did I mean my assignment or the task itself?
Now, because this assignment's not actually due until tomorrow, August 26, you see you've got an unsubmit button at the top of the page there.
Yes.
And so you could, because it's not due yet, you could actually have a brainwave tonight when you're sleeping and unsubmit it, bring it back to yourself, add a bit more information, and then submit it again. And you can do that up to the deadline time.
So can you add a comment to this page too to give me temporary feedback if it was a draft?
Let me see if I go to my student page. And I'm just going to share my page again here now. I'm going to try to. Okay, share. Okay, so you should have my page again now. And you see that I have my student list. And where is it? Right, so I can see that I've got, thank you, Student 8. I bet that's Dean. I'm going to cross-reference that. Yeah, of course it is. So I can see 6 people have done the task, 3 people haven't. Now if I click on the 6 people who have done the task, I can go in to see who they were. Okay, so here's who's done the task right now. That's great. So, oh yes, I don't need the tour, thank you. All right, so maybe I should grade some of these tasks. So, yeah, gotcha. Right, oh, we have a student 10. Oh, look, you've all done it. Aren't you all good? So I click on student 1's name. That was Amanda's one, and I can see here's her task. I can click it and open it. It'll open in my drive. I can go, So I'm just going to give you some feedback on this task.
Me,
Poor
Grandma.
grammar. Needs more blue. Reference? Question mark. Okay. So I'll just make some comments on that task there. And of course, being Google Drive, it saves automatically, so I can go back. And those changes are there now.
Nice.
I might want to give her a grade on this. So I'll click on grade. Now, right now, I can grade it out of 1, 20, 50, or 100. Or it can be an ungraded paper, so it can just be just no mark at all. So I'll give you a mark out of 20 on this. I just need to update the point value. Right, so Amanda, I'm going to give you a 3 out of 20 for that one. I think that needs a little more work.
That's very generous.
I try. Yep. And there's your comment. This was a dodgy assignment. Really? See me. Okay, so we can have a conversation about that, and you can see. So that's done now. Now, if I want to return the now how do I do this? Oops. Sorry. How do I return that? Oh, there, the blue button. So you can see now if I just sort of close that up again, I've marked one of these papers. It's gone black. I'm not going to mark the rest, so you get the idea. Once I've marked all these papers, I can hit the return button and say return the assignment, and that will then return that assignment back to student 1, and you can see it's there marked returned August 25th. So it's actually managing the workflow between teacher and student. Now you could get into a whole discussion about whether this is obviously not the only kind of assessment you want to be doing in a school, but there's still a lot of assessment that is done this way, where teachers are setting written type of tasks for kids, and kids are writing stuff and giving it back. So, for at least that kind of work, this is an interesting sort of idea of managing that workflow. Any questions from you guys?
Yeah, could you set one assignment task and allow us all permission so that we're all editing the same document?
Sure, let's do that.
That's interesting.
Let me share my screen again. So I'll go share, and right, so let's go back. My computer has cat noises for error messages. Oh, right, gotcha. Whose cat is that, by the way?
That was mine. My needy cat.
Okay. All right, so let's make another assignment, and we'll call this Task 2, Description Working Together. And let's make it also due tomorrow. Shall we have another document? And bear in mind, I'm just attaching documents because that's good for a demonstration, but you don't have to have documents. You can give YouTube videos or links to websites or anything else you like. So I've got a demo document here. It's just blank, so I'll say add. In this case, we'll say students can edit the file, and I will assign that. And that should now come up in your task list, or your front page there. You should see task 2. And if you click on demo doc, we should all be in that document now editing together. And there's nothing, this is just a blank document, there's nothing in here, so, Okay. I can see 1, 2 people other than me are in here. And we're all editing away. Now, this one doesn't have a turn-in button because who would have that, right? Because it's everybody's document, so having a turn-in button doesn't really make sense in this instance.
Oh, someone just wiped out my whole work. I'm so angry.
I know, that's just the way people are. So annoying.
It was student 3.
All right, student 3, I'm going to go back through revision history.
Yeah,
that revision history is really powerful. And actually, I noticed, Chris, when the cursor disappears when you do this stuff, you can often tell when a kid hasn't been focusing on perhaps working on the document. And I didn't know, but you can actually click on the actual icon on the top, and it takes you on larger documents to where they're editing it.
Correct.
Nice.
The other little shortcut that a lot of people don't realise is, you know how if you want revision history, you can go File, See Revision History. You can also just click up here where it says All Changes Saved, and that's a short way to do it.
Oh.
Nice. You know what? And this is something I think it's important. You were lamenting before, Chris, that about the grade and perhaps it being grade-driven, but the way Google Docs is working, and if you use it in its form here, you can actually embed immediate feedback in a number of different levels. You can drop in a chat window on the side. You can directly annotate something and then put in a change. Or if a group's working in a document, they can do that sort of conversation. And that means that you've got a much more powerful feedback happening on a different levels with however the student likes to work. Or between
you would
students.
think so, wouldn't you? You would think so. The way it's structured right now is when I create a document, and it's not a shared document, it's just one for every member of the class. When you get that document, you become the owner of it, and I can no longer edit it with you. I become an observer. I can view it, but I can't write on it. A lot of people are complaining about that, saying, "Hang on, no, because I'm not an editor." So a lot of people are saying, "Well, that's useless." So I think there's plenty of feedback coming in on that. I imagine that will be one of the things that gets changed. But right now, the way it works is while the document is out, so checked out to the student, and the student is the editor of it, the teacher is not the editor of it. And I think it would be far more useful if you had an option to choose whether or not you want to be an editor on those checked out documents.
So how does
Hopefully
this
that's
compare to some of the Google Drive management kind of interfaces that some schools have purchased to make Google Drive easier?
You're talking about things like Hapara?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Hapara does way more than this. And so, yeah, this is no replacement for Hapara. It's no replacement for Moodle. But for a school who maybe doesn't have a learning management system at all, or is just looking for something simpler, this is not a bad option. And it's, of course, it's totally free, which is the other interesting idea behind it. Now, so you've got my screen there. I'm showing you the classroom. I just want to flip over here. So this is just in my Google Drive, and you'll notice that if I look into my Drive, it's actually created a folder here called Classroom. And when I go into Classroom, there's the demo class, and when I go into demo class, here's the first task, the please complete this task, here's task 2, and so when I go into, say, this first one, there's all the student documents.
Oh, that's neat.
Students and
With
with
their
smile,
names.
there you go. So I've actually got all of the student documents showing here. So I think until the...
See, that's a really good feature that isn't in Moodle.
Yeah, totally. No, if you're a school that relies heavily on Google Docs, this makes an awful lot of sense. You know, I was having this conversation with some of our teachers today, and they were going, "Oh, this sounds really good," but like, they hasn't clicked to them yet that this doesn't mean they'll be working in Word anymore. They're going to have to switch.
Yeah.
Some of them still haven't
Oh,
quite
they
made that
can.
mental jump yet.
Convert that document every time.
Yeah. So I can go in here and look at this document here from student 9. Thank you, student 9. And I can see that now. Because it looks like it's been submitted, I'm assuming, so it looks like I have editing rights. I should go back and check that. Student 9
I've
has
submitted
submitted or
it.
not. Yeah. Oh, that's you, Riss, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did submit.
Yeah. So once you submit, sorry, which document is it? This one. Once you submit, I've got commenting rights on that, and I can come in here and I can leave you a comment.
So can you return it to me for feedback for me to improve something?
Yes, I can. So let's do that.
Yeah.
So let's go back over to Classroom. Too many windows. Oh, where am I? This one. Okay. So let's go back to here. Click on task 1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so task 1, student 9. So here's student 9 here. I can open that document up, and I think, oh, hang on, Maybe I can't do it from there. I thought I could. Oh. I know you can do this because I have done it before, but it looks like it's not how I remember it.
Mm.
I believe you can hand it
Yeah.
back to you and with feedback
Yeah.
and say, okay, here's some things you need to work on.
Yeah.
But I just can't see how I do that right now. Weird.
Yeah, that's alright. Press all the buttons later.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that.
I'll forgive you.
It's got me perplexed now. Oh, maybe I need to... Oh, no, I wouldn't grade it first. Or maybe I do. Maybe I'll grade it. I'm going to give you 10 out of 20. Just, trying to encourage you to do better.
Oh, I thought it was pretty
No,
good.
okay. I don't know. I don't know how I...
Well, it says not returned there, so there must be a return somewhere.
I'll return. Okay. So there you go. So I've returned the assignment.
Oh, where did you do that?
That's what it is. That's what it is. So
tick in the box and then
once I
press
marked
return?
it, Once
Yeah.
I marked it, I pressed the return button at the top of the screen,
Oh, there. Okay,
and that
right.
returns it to you.
Oh.
So you should get access to it now. But because it's not due yet, you should be able to continue to make changes on it and then resubmit it again.
Yep.
And you might like to just confirm that that's the case.
Yeah,
So
let's
it-
see what happens.
It can be used from a drafting feedback perspective.
Yeah. And the other thing too, you know how I said like once the student is editing it, the teacher can't.
Mm.
In fact, let's just try that. So if I go back to that demo doc, oh no, that's not it. Where's yours? Right. So if I go back to Rissa's document here, now that I've handed it back to her, you notice I no longer have editing permission on this document. So I'd have to reload that and it tell me probably it is view only. Yeah. Oh, no, it looks like I can make suggestions.
Oh, nice.
Okay, maybe I can make... So maybe they've changed that already, because I know you certainly couldn't do this in the original version. So if I want a different word to submit, enter word here.
I was about
So
to
yeah, it looks
burst
like I
into
can
some
leave
empty
comments
hammer.
while it's checked out. You haven't submitted it back yet, Riz, have you?
No, I haven't. I'm still using it.
Okay, so it looks like I can make comments while you're working, so that's an improvement over the original way it was working. I like it. And I like the fact that it's in suggesting mode too, it's not in editing mode, so while it's a student's piece of work and they're working on it, as a teacher I can make suggestions about things they should change, but I can't actually change it for them. And I think
That's so
that's actually
powerful.
a nice way to handle it. Yeah.
Mm.
So there you go, so
Chris,
that's a brief tour through Classroom.
Was that just because
Sorry, go on.
you sent that back to me that you are now able to add comments to it, or when you first sent it out, could you add comments to it? Then
I assumed that I couldn't, so I didn't even bother looking. But
Do you mean before?
given that
a
you've got
student
it back in your
has-
control now, it looks like teachers can actually make suggested edits while it's
Yeah.
in the student's control.
yeah, that makes sense.
Which is a good thing.
Then it's more formative, isn't it? Rather than
What was the
Now, if
title
you
of
submit
it
it,
before it
you
changed?
submit it back to me. Sorry,
yeah.
Paula.
do that.
It's green saying suggesting. What was that box before when you were grading? Did that... Okay, yeah, I can see that.
When it was grading, it may still be suggesting when I was grading. Let's, Riz, can you submit that back?
Oh yeah. Turning in.
Okay, so you've turned in the paper, and so I'm seeing now that your paper is returned.
Yep.
So I can see the status that it's currently in. So it's returned to the teacher. Oh, so now it's saying, oh, sorry, returned means I've returned it to you. So it's now saying done,
Yeah.
which means it's back with me again. And now that it's back with me, if I was to look at that document again, and I might just refresh this page just to confirm.
I'd actually appreciate a higher mark.
Yeah. So I've got full editing mode now. So
Okay.
whereas before, while you had it, I only had suggesting. Now I've got it. I've got full editing.
Nice.
So I could actually change things if I want, or I could downgrade myself to a suggester if I wanted to. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is good.
Okay, well, I've reread your paper. I think that's a vast improvement, so I'll go back to
Yeah, it
Classroom
is.
here, and I will regrade your paper, and also I'm going to give you 18 out of 20 for that one. There you go.
You still didn't get the
Nice.
jackpot.
Oh, you know, I'm a hard marker. What can I
See,
say?
Roland's happy with the 18 and I'm not.
I never mark more than 10 out of 10.
Nobody's perfect.
Chris, I've got a couple of questions from the chat room. Do you mind if I pass them on to you?
No, go for it.
Okay. First one by Kylie. Could students upload a PDF document, perhaps you could mark it on your iPad, and then return it? I guess you're not looking at the level of anything more perhaps than just annotation or just popping in a grade. My suspicion is probably yes, because it seems to be written in HTML5.
I'm not seeing a way to do that. What I'm seeing is that I can create assignments and give them out. If I create an assignment, so you're saying the student creates the PDF and resubmits it back?
The question was, can students upload a PDF document?
I don't know, to be honest. Submit a PDF. We'll test this. I'm not going to attach anything there, but I'll say add a PDF and return and say assign. So hopefully that will now create a task.
Okay, so I'll toss in a PDF.
Right. Do you have the option to do anything there and attach a comment to send it back?
Okay, I've got submit a PDF, add a
Want to share
PDF
your screen?
return. No, just a comment. That's all I can do. I don't seem to be able
I've
to
got
do.
mine shared now, so you can see there's an option to add or to create. And so one of the things is I can upload a file. So
Oh, okay. So
like a PDF.
yeah, if the PDF, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so I can either create from something from my drive or upload. So yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Okay.
Can you test that out?
So if
once-
if my task to a student then is simply to create something, so I'm not giving them a paper or a document or anything to work on. I'm simply giving them a task, and they need to create something and attach it back. The options that Amanda showed there were you can create something as a doc, a sheet, a presentation, or was it a drawing? I think it was 4 options in the list you showed.
Yeah.
But you can also attach a link, you can attach a file, and you can attach something from your drive. So yeah, so if you had if you asked the student to make a Scratch program, for example, and they had an SB2 file for Scratch, so they could drop that into their drive or just upload it from their desktop, and they could submit any file type back. It looks like. So that's good.
Nice. That makes sense.
Thanks for the question. Whoever asked that, it's a good question.
I have another question here. Can students see each other's assignments? And I guess you've seen it already before. If you were to create a shared document, in theory, I guess, I noticed the share option is still available. A student who has a document could share it with other students or with a class group.
If you unturn in my assignment 1, I can test that for you.
Sure, let's do that. So assignment 1 was this one. So student 1, let me go in here and how do I do this again? I forget. So I untick that. No, how do I return this to you? I tick it and say return.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Okay, so then on mine, I'm just going to
So that returns the assignment for you.
Yep. And see if I can put in. What are you, Roland? Are you student 2?
Oh, student 2, I think.
Student 2.
Great, because I can fix up your spelling, Amanda.
I was intentionally doing student spelling. Oh, look, and I can even set edit, comment, view. So, yep, I'll just send you that one. You might have to go to your drive, but it looks like I can totally share an assignment with you. So I guess we can too.
Let me jump in there, Amanda, and I'll fix up that spelling for you. And the good thing, Chris, is when I've done this before for my students in the classroom, you've got that history. You can actually see what that contribution, and I encourage the students to collaborate. I can see what they're doing, and I've got that history to see what they're contributing and how they can kind of work together.
Yeah, I would kind of like the option to have it either way, because there were times when I would want students to be able to share documents with each other and work together on stuff, and there may be other times where I don't want that, so it would be nice to have the option.
So Amanda, you should see me jumping into your document now, and oh hello, I'm only coming up with task 1. Okay, am I doing wrong here?
So
student 1, sorry.
Student.
Maybe if you go to your
Student
drive.
1.
Oh no, you're here now.
Yep, sorry.
Hello, student 2.
I'll just
Hang on.
tone down your language a bit here. It is very nice. I think there needs to be more orange options. There we go.
Orange.
Fix
No
up your
way.
document for you.
Ah, and while you're in it, it's saying view only for me. So what's with that?
Ah, that's interesting, Chris.
Ah,
No. It
Really?
wasn't. No, I think I was just in a. I had too many tabs from when I submitted it
right.
before. So
Okay.
I was in. Yeah,
Okay,
all good.
very nice. Okay.
Did you see how you can send emails to other people?
Yeah, but they need
Yep.
to be on this using the Gmail, which we don't have at my school. So because email is separate.
Ah, right.
But if you're all in with
Right.
the GAFE,
Right.
Nice.
And I showed you before how I can navigate to my Google Drive and find that folder that contains all the assignments. There is, in fact, a shortcut right at the top there. There's a button. Oh, sorry. Let me share my screen. Share. So when you are on the list of assignment page, there is a button at the top there with a folder button, and clicking that will actually jump you directly to the folder in Drive, so you can see. Why is my internet so slow tonight? There you go. So you can jump directly to that folder that contains all the tasks. It does create a new folder for every task, and if I just change this view here, you can see that it's named all the tasks as well. So you've got task 1, task 2, and so on, and they've all been named with the student names. So that's rather handy. And what's this download button do? Let's have a look. I guess if I tick all the students and say download.
Is that a spreadsheet for the scores?
Oh,
Or
okay.
offline
Okay. So it actually, no, it's a download of the grades as a CSV file.
nice.
Nice.
Right. So once
Because
you grade
anyone
them,
can
you can
just go into the
pull
Google
the
Drive and
graded
grab
marks
the
out,
entire collection as an archive. Nice.
It's a little bit limiting at the moment in that you've only got the option to mark things out of 1, 20, 50, or 100, or ungraded. I often mark things out of strange numbers, so I'm hoping. Oh, I wonder if I can put a number in there. Mark it out of 44. Oh, look at it! I can do that. Okay, excellent. So you just type the number in. That's handy to know.
Chris,
Didn't realise.
is it
Yeah.
is it possible to like here in Queensland we do things a little bit different? We grade from an A to E.
A 15-point
1 to 5.
scale?
That's a 1 to 5 scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
I don't
best
think
to
so.
do. Yeah, probably a 1 to 15 scale would be probably
Yeah, just
sufficient.
adjust on that, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that
I
we
imagine,
do it 15 points.
yeah, hit the download button, suck it out to a CSV, and then write a little formula that says if
Yeah, a bit of
score
VLOOKUP stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the assignment marking back and forward. I think there's heaps of potential in there. I don't think it's a perfect LMS or anything like that, but I think it's got some interesting, a seed of an interesting idea here, and be interesting to see where Google takes this over the next 6 to 18 months, I think. I mean, what would you guys add to this?
Is there a
go on.
discussion forum?
The discussion forum in the sense that when you create these things on the front page here, it can be an announcement. And so those very first things we started to play with the announcement types, like this announcement down here. It's a forum in the sense that, but it's not a threaded forum, so if someone can't reply to a reply, that kind of thing.
So that'd be nice. Threaded forum.
The other thing, Google is on this sort of push at the moment to have this material design look for everything, and one of the things it's making things a little bit more sort of spacious looking than it has been in the past. So while I look at that on the screen there and I think, well, that's nice and spread out and uses white space and all that sort of stuff, when I'm getting conversations and have lots and lots of conversation in there, I think that white space and that spacing would kind of drive me crazy. There'd be lots of scrolling to read stuff that shouldn't really require that much scrolling.
Interesting, Chris.
Yeah.
Can you do like a Control F to look for a keyword then in those conversations that are sort of like collapsed?
Doesn't look like it, no. That would be handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing
so
is
here's
also...
the thing, guys. I don't know if you can see it on the screen here, but maybe I'll just reset it a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. Right down the bottom corner, down here, there's a little button that says Send Feedback. Can you see that or not? Or is it off your screen?
Yes. Yeah, it's got it. Yep.
Okay. So there's a Send Feedback button, and so what I'd encourage everyone to do is, if you do have access to Classroom, is to, if you have ideas about things that you think need improvement, click that little button and add it in here. Because I'm told on fairly good authority that the Classroom team is reading every one of these at the moment and is taking everything on board, because they're trying to obviously build this into a product that teachers want to use. So if you have an idea about how it should work, click the Send Feedback button and send that off. The more people complain or ask for a feature, the more likely we are to get it.
Be nice to know who else was in the room.
In the room, as in what other students are in here?
Yeah.
Who's online?
Oh, who's online at any given time? Yeah, that would be good.
Because I think we've got a classmates page.
Now, if I just come back out of here, I've got a button in my top corner, and probably so do you, where you can click and go back to the home. And so you can see, now, for most of you, you probably only have the one classroom space, which is this ACCELN demonstration class. I think if you're student 1 or 2, you may have a couple of others there where I was playing with it. But what you'll see when you go to this home page is any classes that you're, that you're a member of. And to become a member of a class, the teacher just needs to give you that access code that you type in, and then you'd click on the plus button in the corner here, hit the Join Class button, type in the class code to join, and then you'd now be a member of that class. So it's easy enough to sort of create a class. Creating a class from scratch, let me just show you that, because again, I've got teacher access at the moment, so I'm seeing this item here that you don't see, Create Class. And when you click that, I get the option to create a class. I call it Test Demo. I can give it a section name or not. So I hit Creating, and it's as simple as that to create a class. Basically, give it a name. I think if this is going to make a serious play in schools, it probably needs to get better than that. There needs to be an import option. It ultimately needs to be able to synchronize with student management systems, and you don't really want to have to go creating all your classes manually. You need to plug them into a database somewhere, and it's just aware of your timetable information, and it creates classes on the fly. This would certainly make it a challenge for us to use it in a big school like ours. But I imagine if you're in a small school, like if you're in a school of less than 500 kids, or a country school, or somewhere where maybe you don't have some of these fancy systems, this is like a breath of fresh air. This is giving you access to tools that you probably don't have right now at no cost. So, I think it's going to be horses for courses with this. It's not quite ready for the big time in a lot of the bigger schools that I know of, but I think it has heaps of potential in the smaller ones.
That's really good. One last question, Chris.
Trial schools?
Sorry, Paula, what was that?
Have you got many trial schools having a go yet, or putting their hands up? Small schools?
Look, I work mainly in one school, so I can only talk about our context. But I'm reading on the Google Certified Teachers sort of community lists. There are lots of schools rolling it out at the moment and trying it, and they're all different situations. Obviously, a lot in the US. I haven't really spoken to too many other schools in Australia that are looking at it just yet, but I'm sure they're out there.
Chris, I've got a question that was put through in our back channel. Is there an email sent to the teacher when the assignment's uploaded? And I guess they're looking at email triggers and alerts. I tend to turn them off, but I guess some people might like them.
I believe there is. Let me go to my email, and we'll see what's waiting for me. Yeah. Yeah, there's, sorry, I was not
You
sharing
have
my screen.
things there.
Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, I've got a ton of emails that's just come in there telling me the assignments have been completed and done, and I'm even getting emails notifying me of changes made within documents.
Nice.
So yeah, probably more information than I really want at this stage, so I'd probably be filtering that into a separate folder and dealing with it when I get a moment. Or I believe you can turn it off, although to be honest, I'm not sure if I can tell you where that switch is. Oh, hang on, settings, notifications. Okay, so yeah, so let me just go back and show you where that was. So if you click on the panel in the top left to get to the panel with your classes in it, right down the bottom it says settings, and under settings there's a notifications option where you can basically at this stage just turn it off or on. Again, ultimately, I think as I develop this further, you probably want granular control over that and decide on a case-by-case basis what you want or don't want. But right now, that's where it's kept. Okay. And I think that covers most of it. I don't know. Is there any more questions in the back channel?
No. I think you've done a really good job tonight, Chris, being able to give us a tour of the classroom. I'll have to go outside and bang some whiteboard dusters and see if you can let me back in. That's wonderful.
I think
yeah,
really
well, I mean, it's new to me as well, so there's still probably lots of stuff I don't know about it either. But it's good to get a group of people in like this and have a play.
With a lot of this technology, it tends to be like double-edged sword. I mean, not only does it amplify some good work, there's also the opportunity for amplifying some obnoxious behaviour. And what this seems to do is give that wraparound that teachers are going to be looking for to be able to control an environment. I don't want to squeeze them into a padded playroom, but I do think that it's good when you can suppress some of the forum discussions. And I reckon the Google tools do this really well with the auditing, being able to go back over revision history. I've had nothing but success with my senior students being able to do shared homework notes and documents. Nice to have that classroom wraparound. Yeah, I even reckon that the subject associations could use some of this as courseware for some of the stuff that they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ready. Very happy that they've released it because now they can start to get some feedback. And I guess also, Chris, it means that the kind of feedback they're getting is from an authentic user base that's going to be using it rather than a developer trying to, I guess, second guess where it's heading. So good on you, Google, for releasing this one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny, the day it was released, I was in a conference in Canberra, the IT Managers Conference for the AIS, and we had Swan Yeo with us. Swan is the head of education in Sydney here for Google Australia, Google Asia Pacific, and we were going to give him 15 minutes just to talk about anything he wanted to talk about, and like 2 minutes before he was going to get up and talk, he leans across to me and he says, "I've got something new, should I talk about it?" And it literally was just released, like he got a message on his phone like 2 minutes beforehand about Classroom being released. So none of us had ever even heard about it. This was the best kept secret. You know, like in the Google community, you know, sometimes we hear rumors about things that are coming, and we you know, there's a bit of NDA stuff we can't obviously talk about, but none of us saw this coming at all. And just, you know, he leans across and he says, "Oh, I've got this new thing. You want me to talk about it?" He didn't know much about it either, but so you know, that was a couple of months ago, and then it went through this sort of testing phase when everyone wanted to get access, and then you had to apply for access, and then it was only like if you were a Google certified teacher in a school that was running Google Apps for Education, you got early access to it, but there were no students to play with and no other teachers to play with, so it was all a bit limiting. And then, like as I say, 2 weeks ago is when they opened it up to everybody in Google Apps for Education domains. So it's hot off the press, so to speak.
Well, should we take a moment and just do a brief wrap-up from, or comments, questions from each person before we end our broadcast?
Sure.
Now, Chris, you're first on my list. Did you have anything else to add tonight?
No, I think I've said just about everything I can say on this. I'm excited about it. I think it's undercooked right now. You know, I look at it now and I go, to me, it's the seed of a great idea. It would be a hard sell for any of our teachers at school, I think, because they would be looking for more functionality than it's currently got. But by the same token, I think there's a number of teachers who are totally put off by Moodle. It's too confusing, too ugly, too whatever, and they'd look at this and go, wow, this is pretty functional and it does what I want and it's simple and it's easy to use, and I think they'd probably relate to it really well. And if we can just sort of let it evolve just a little bit more and have some extra features come in, I think it's got an interesting future.
Excellent. Paula, reflections from you?
I think, yeah, definitely it doesn't have the functionality of Moodle. It doesn't have the ability, it doesn't seem to have that ability to sequence and direct the learning in like a variety of different directions at this time. I think it's got more features than Edmodo. So, yeah, and I think, it might be nice to get on early and go for the ride and learn as we go. I mean, there's only a few features at the moment, so it's not going to turn anyone off like Moodle. So, yeah, I think I've got a nice little project happening in a special location. So, looking forward to it.
Excellent. Something you can apply it to straight away.
Yep.
Sounds good. Rhys, what about you and your cat?
Now look, man, I do not want to use the U word, but it does have a lot of the functionality that the Ultranet was supposed to have. So it is interesting looking at... Sorry, people, I went there. It is interesting. So, whereas you can smile because you weren't exposed to the Ultranet, that was the Victorian thing. So it's just really interesting to see because a lot of the functionality that Chris showed us tonight is actually what that was supposed to have been able to do, except this looks like it might actually work. So that's quite interesting. And I actually, it's interesting looking at the different ways the two products were released. And, I think that Google are first to say that this isn't fully baked, but yeah, and that's the difference in the product. So yeah, I think it has a lot of potential. I think I could probably do a few trials at the school. I reckon I'll keep Hapara for now, just for the ease of the teachers are just getting their head around that, and just that ease of dropping into student work. But I do like the potential of this. Thanks, Chris.
And thanks for your reflections too and joining us. Wes?
Yeah, well, I actually think for those schools that are transitioning from, say, Edmodo, the learning curve is going to be very slight. It's not going to be as as high as some of the other sort of management systems or systems that are out there. I think the ease of that, I think the kids will get it very, very quickly. The staff will get it very quickly. They'll see the workflows. Any schools that are looking at going paperless, this is another sort of emphasis or impetus to sort of go towards that way, and I think a little bit more greater transparency between student and teacher.
Thanks.
Actually, Wes, just piggybacking on that one thing, I think I said before, how introducing it to my staff, I said to them, you won't be using sort of Microsoft Office stuff. This will push them towards using Google Drive. But that stuff that whoever asked the question about being able to attach any file type, if a teacher really did want to work in Word or a PDF or a PowerPoint or one of those old traditional file types, there's no reason why they couldn't do that and simply attach that and submit it anyway, because it accepts any file type, right? And especially now that Google Drive is much better at handling native Office files, and you can open them and edit them and look at them inside Drive natively, that's actually an interesting sort of an idea, that any file type can be submitted.
Yeah.
Technically, a student wouldn't have to hand in a set file type either. They could create a whole range of things, and there's even the option to add a link, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So not only being device agnostic, it's also file extension agnostic.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, having said that, obviously you only get this if you're part of a Google Apps for Education domain, and so you would already be operating in Google Drive Docs anyway.
Yeah.
So clearly, it's a play by Google to really push that market and capture even more of it. But the nice thing about it is it's not looking at lock-in the sense that you can use whatever file type you want. If you want to do it in Lotus 123, you can use that. And it still works. What do you get excited by that, Roland?
Yeah, or Visio, or Magic Window. Hey, Chris, what's excited me is you've helped kick off a discussion about the way that we can actually make use of this technology for wrapping around the things that we're doing. I mean, a lot of us have been tinkering around with perhaps using Google Docs in classrooms, and we're missing that kind of classroom wrap. And I think that's what you've been able to show me. I reckon it may be half-baked, but gee, I'd be ready to cook with this one. I could use this in most of my subjects, attaching the bits and pieces that we need to share. I'm all for the idea of anything that's going to save me having to lob a few trees down to make more handouts to get things grinding. I wish teachers would make a better serious effort at using these collaborative online tools for assigning them tasks and then reflecting and giving them that feedback. And I like that layering too. It's not just a case of me making an annotation in a corner. I can directly drop something into a document, toss in a mark. I'm not so much a big fan of using all these things for making assessment walls for students. I am looking for opportunities to provide them with some authentic, timely feedback on what they're doing. Don't forget also, totally. Some kids respond really well in this environment. They're really shy. They're often quiet in the classroom. They get dominated by the loudest kids in this classroom, and they can really fly when you throw them into the discussion forums, being able to connect with their friends in a different way. And that's nice. You can all find your own place in space. It doesn't have to do everything, but I reckon it just can really fill out your classroom nicely when you're creating this and using it and personalizing the learning for them. So thanks a lot for showing it to us tonight. Really appreciate it.
That's all right. It's my pleasure. And then there's one last thing I actually did forget to mention, and that is it's device agnostic as well. So it works beautifully well on phones, on tablets, iOS, Android, doesn't matter. It's HTML5, so it runs on pretty much any platform. Chromebooks, obviously. So device agnostic as well is a big thing. Google very much has a mobile-first policy right now, where any new products that come out have to work just as well on mobile as they do on the web.
Fabulous.
Give them a big tick for that one. Well done.
Someone needs they need to drive that, but
What I really like about what you've shown us tonight is that it's not trying to do everything, and it enhances schools that are just going with Google Apps for Education or just starting out. It streamlines that process a lot more, so they don't have to manage folders and share folders with students and collect and do all of that tricky stuff in terms of managing, and even just the fact that when a student turns in an assignment, they stop editing it, which has been a comment from some of the teachers I've worked with as well. And there's quite a few things I think I can just take and share with a few teachers at my school straight away to make their lives easier. I think it's right now something that will fit in with other LMSs rather than trying to replace them. Maybe it's doing a few things well in its half-baked state rather than taking on the world, which I think is probably sensible.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for doing a few things well.
Yes, I've got to look into that. I hear it's a good motto. Now, next week we have yet another ACCELN broadcast. We're still working on the final details for that, but check our acceln.wikispaces.com page for more information in the coming days. If you're part of our Google Plus community, we'll send you an invite to that. And yeah, if you'd like to be on our panel at a future show, or you have an idea of something we could run, let us know. And remember, you can view all of our past Hangout recordings at acceln.wikispaces.com. See you next time.
And we look forward to seeing you all in. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye.